Thank you for clicking on this video, and welcome to the Kingdom Within podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look within the expansion of spiritual experiences. Alright, so when I had my first big spiritual experience, like the one that totally rocked me, I had been, full disclosure, I've had them ever since I was a kid with astral projection and different things, but I'm talking about like my biggest one, right? The one that kind of, set all this in, for me. I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. And I tried to explain, what had happened to me, to my friends and stuff, and they just could not understand. Even the people that had claimed that they had spiritual experiences or whatnot, and it's still, there was still no satisfaction. And the information was really hard to get. I mean, if you go to the library and look at books and stuff like that, you could read the Bible, obviously. That's pretty readily available. But I'm talking more like just people, everyday people that you'd meet, they just wouldn't have any idea of what I was saying. Even as a kid, with the little mini ones that I would have, but yeah, this big one, I just had nobody. But now, it seems like everybody's had some kind of out-of-body experience or near-death experience or some kind of spiritual experience. Man, it's just like it's blown up. And, it seems like everybody's kind of out there, telling what they went through and all that. And although I've had, like I said, several, experiences, I still think that it's much more beneficial for us to focus on our transformation, like our regeneration, rather than tell everybody, exactly what happened, I seen this, or this happened, or this was revealed to me, yada yada yada. And we can go down that a little while later, but this tells us really two things. One, there is definitely a connection within all of us to the other side. There's just too much evidence to support that. I think in my head, that might ring differently for you, but it seems like there's no shortage of the information. And with the internet and everything else now, I mean, it's in the palm of our hands. But another thing this tells us is that this is something we haven't seen in a very long time. I want to say, the Enlightenment period was like a pretty good bump of people having, spiritual experiences. And, yeah, with everybody, with this new wave that's come in, I feel like, I wanted to share some things that I wish I knew earlier in my journey, or something that, maybe helped me, in my journey. But anyway, the first thing would be, I would tell my, 19-year-old self, after having this experience, to keep it grounded. We still got to do life's tasks. We still got to go out and get our basic needs met. You know, like I was the money thing to me. Like I was like, nah. You know, not that money was necessarily evil or nothing, but like that. But I was like, I don't need this. Kind of thing. And maybe you don't need a whole lot of money and things like that, but you do need your basic needs met. And, you may be aware that you have your physical body and your spiritual body. However, it's our actions and how we treat others that matter the most. And, you know, whatever we're digging up, whatever you believe, whatever your experience is, if it's not driving you to lead a better life, a happier life, a more useful life, maybe, step back and check, is this something that's good? Is this something that, or is this something that's making me better? And, is this developing more love inside of me? Do I feel more compassion and more, just more love for everybody and wanting to help and make this place better and be useful, which is my next thing. Being useful, that's just like, I feel like it's just common sense. You don't have to have no spiritual experience or nothing like that to understand that. Be useful. Whatever it is that you're doing, do it to the best of your ability. And we should constantly trying to be evolving in those areas as well. Especially if you're doing something that you love, I think that just kind of comes naturally. But yeah, I mean, even like what I'm doing right here, I feel like, people have told me before that I should make some YouTube videos or some kind of podcast or something like that. Because what I was saying to them was very useful to them and that it could be useful to other people. And so, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of part of it. Especially with this, big spirituality pop we got going on right now. This like new wave that's coming in. But yeah, we should stay focused on our own progress and our own transformation, and just know that your actions are always speaking louder than your words. We're basically representing the other side, our greatest self at all times. And maybe we're not always there. Maybe we're not always our best selves in every moment, every situation. That's okay. It's the getting better and taking those steps that really matter the most, because we'll actually, we'll get there naturally. But yeah, and I've said this a few times now, but I wrote down my notes, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. But how we treat others, okay, even in our minds, matters more than anything other than the Lord himself. So think about that. All right, I'm going to say it again. How we treat other people, even in our minds, matters more than anything else other than the Lord himself. And this is a big one, for me. Um, because I think it's just totally just, it just flips the script, you know. I have often found myself in my mind destroying people and fighting with them and wishing bad things on them. And that is harmful to me because they're not, you know, they're not, obviously, they're not feeling that at all. You know, there's no action behind it. I didn't put any action behind it, but in my head, I'm like, blah, 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 you know, or I have before. But, you know, I, that's okay. So, yeah, back to it. Back there, you know, would put all this hate and stuff and just build up a lot of anger and frustration in my heart. And when I try to be useful, you know, trying to work through this, especially if I was around that other person, it'd be extremely difficult to have a very good day at all. So yeah, you know, just setting that stuff aside and just kind of giving it to, you know, your higher power, whatever that may be, um, and just yeah, just kind of surrendering to it and just saying, hey, you know, they're going through a process just like I am, and although you know we're kind of clashing heads right now, I'm just gonna stick with what I know is good and what I know is true, and I'm gonna act out of that. And um, I know that's the best place I can act out of in my heart. So, however that happens, it happens, right? And that's another thing about this is that it's our honest intuition, or it's our honest and intentions. It's our honest intentions that matter the most, not the outcome of our actions. You know, we can intend to do good, but it's how the other thing or other person responds or reacts to it that we can't control. That's on that person or that, um, you know, we have, all we can do is make sure that we're acting out of that loving, you know, place, you know, and using as much wisdom as we can, as much, you know, knowledge about it, whatever, you know, um, you know, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And that's just basic science right there, you know. But it's our intentions, what we have in our heart. You know, if you think this is the right thing to do, you know, rather if it is or isn't truly the point. You know, it's your heart's intentions and your actions will, it will naturally come out. The more you know, let go of those tangled up messes that you have in your heart or that you have in your mind or that you've been acting out of, the more that we act out of goodness and love and that sort of thing, the more that stuff kind of gets cleared up. And I'm not saying that, um, you know, your whole life's just gonna like, you know, just magic man's gonna come out of the sky and just save you. But when you're acting out of like love and just that right place in your heart and doing what you know is true, it is it'll send you right where you need to go every single time. And like right now, I know my life doesn't look perfect. It never has, and it probably won't ever will look perfect. But I'm gonna keep pushing towards um, what I need, you know, and keep doing the things that are required of me to do those things. But anyway, I'm getting a little off topic here, but it's the intention of it all. And I guess lastly, what I really wanted to say here is, we can learn from other people. Obviously, you're this far to the video. There's something here, right? But use your discernment, knowing what's good and true. Use your inner knowing of what's good and true and find out for yourself, because that's the real transformation. That's the real thing. It isn't what I'm saying. It's what you've experienced and how what I'm saying is affecting you. And yeah, I wish I had someone saying that to me when I was, first going through my stuff. And yeah, just forming a good structure, moving forward. We tend to fall apart when we don't really know. And we have enough information out there now where, like, is there another side? Is there life after death? Absolutely. Absolutely there is. And there's people out there that have studied it, and can tell you about it. They can tell you their experiences. And that's a real powerful thing, And that's something that I didn't have whenever I was going through all my stuff. And who knows how I would have turned out, had someone said some of these things to me, about it all, But yeah, guys, I know we're getting back to work and stuff, kind of getting back in the grind. I don't know when you're listening to this video, but assuming that you're going to listen to it in a day or two after I release it, we're getting out of the Christmas thing and out to our lives. And I just wanted to say that, we can kind of get lost into the grind of things and kind of lose our way a little bit. And, we're just remember to step back and take some time and just think the divine creator, whatever that may be for you. Just take time and, think about these things. And yeah, we're already kind of living our we're already living our spiritual lives here. We're just not acting like it. And I think that that's going to change, especially with this new wave of kids and stuff, because, my stuff kind of burnt out for a little while. But with everything that's, known now, I feel like people that have gone through these experiences, there's enough food out there, But anyway, what was I say? about everything kind of winding down, everything getting back, is that, I'll be going back to work. I work at a university, um, so I'll be getting back doing that, and um, I probably won't be pushing out as many videos. Um, but who knows? Maybe I'll be able to push out some more, and I'm not going to make any promises about putting out X amount of videos, or you know exactly what they're going to be or what I'm going to do or nothing like that. But I will say that I'm constantly going to be looking to be better. So I want better audio. I want some better um, visuals. So if you're an artist out there, feel free to send me some links or send me some art. I'll put it up on the YouTube while I'm talking. I think that'd be dope. Anyway, to build a little community here, and just of us that are just trying to find our way a little bit, amongst all this craziness that's going on. We don't need somebody else translating anything for us. All the answers that we could ever have are right here in the palm of our hands. And it's an amazing time to be alive. It's a very exciting time to be alive. I'm very much ready to do this some more. And yeah, with all that being said, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You're this far into the video anyway. I love you so much, and it gives me butterflies right now just thinking that someone made it this far and got something out of it. I got like my first one, not my first comment, but I got a comment from someone I hadn't talked to. It's just some person, and I was like, wow, that's so amazing. And I don't know, I've had something else really amazing happen while I was on here, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. But a couple big things, and I know they may seem small to some people, but man, it thrills me to think about what the future could hold for this and my band, Band Night. Look them up on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description of the video. And yeah, Kingdom Within podcast. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.